Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to Booking a Better Wrestler, the show where we take a wrestler from WWE's roster and see if we can do a better job with them. My name is Paul Laporte, and this week's Booking a Better Wrestler is going to be a little bit different. We've had a couple weeks break, so instead of taking a look at one specific wrestler, we're going to talk about how we'd handle the faction that everybody is talking about right now, WWE's version of the Bullet Club. Anderson and Gallows have made their debut, AJ Styles is wrestling for the title at Payback, Finn Balor is free of his NXT title commitments. It seems like now is the perfect time to pull the trigger, so to speak, on this angle. Everything starts off the night of WWE Payback, where Gallows and Anderson help AJ Styles defeat Roman Reigns and become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The three call themselves Bulletproof and go on a tear for the next 2 months, defeating all that stand in their way. AJ Styles is the new king of WWE, and Gallows and Anderson are his right-hand men. The Raw after Extreme Rules, WWE announces the participants for the Money in the Bank ladder match. The participants are as follows: Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, The Miz, Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, and Finn Balor. The bulk of the build-up for that match is carried by the first 6 men. Finn isn't going to make his debut until the night of Money in the Bank, and before that, he can cut promos on NXT and WWE television, and he's hyped up with promotional videos. At Money in the Bank, Finn makes his main roster debut and comes away with the victory, capturing the Money in the Bank briefcase in the process. Later on in the evening, AJ Styles defends his WWE World title in a hard-fought bout against the returning John Cena with the help of the Good Brothers. As AJ is celebrating his defense, Finn Balor comes out, carrying the briefcase. AJ stares him down, and then turns to Gallows and Anderson, who are staring at AJ, giving him an almost apologetic look. AJ knows what's coming next, so he runs at Gallows and attacks him. Gallows and Anderson quickly overcome him and beat him down. Finn calmly walks over to the timekeeper's table, hands him the briefcase, gets into the ring, waits for the bell to ring, picks up AJ, hits him with 1916, and pins him to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion on his first night officially in the company. The next night on Raw, Finn comes out with Gallows and Anderson and cuts a promo on AJ Styles. He mocks AJ for thinking that Gallows and Anderson were ever his to lead, and he tells AJ that he's going to make him pay for ever thinking he could take his place. He then turns to Gallows and Anderson, thanking them for their friendship and service. He says he remembers the good times they had in Japan, when they were dominating the scene out there, the way they could do whatever they wanted, but the thing Finn remembers most about Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson is that they were so quick and so eager to follow a false idol when Finn left. At this point, Gallows and Anderson are ambushed from behind by Mikey Nicholls and Shane Haste, otherwise known as TMDK or the Mighty Don't Kneel. Finn watches as the two destroy Gallows and Anderson and embraces the two when they're finished. Finn explains to the crowd that he's never, ever been one to repeat himself, and if he's going to lead an army, it's going to be an army of those who are young, hungry, and angry, and it's going to be an army that will conquer and destroy all in their path. He then leaves with his new henchmen. Later on in the evening, Becky Lynch faces off against the new women's champion, Natalya. Natty agreed to give Becky a shot at the title because the two are friendly with each other, and Becky says she wants to quote-unquote test herself. Becky's true intentions are revealed when Natty is attacked by TMDK as Becky distracts the ref. They roll her back in the ring, Becky locks on the disarmer, forcing Natty to submit, and becomes your new WWE Women's Champion. Backstage, Becky is welcomed with a big hug from Finn, who tells her how well she's done, and that with her, they're going to dominate every aspect of WWE. Finn explains to the camera that Becky is his second in command and is the underboss of his army. This begins the reign of destruction of WWE from a group that will come to be known as the West End, a name which is taken from an Irish mob syndicate that operates in North America. Within the next month, TMDK will go on to win the WWE Tag Team titles from champions Enzo and Cass. The West End will receive 2 new members in Rusev and the returning Neville. Rusev will enter the IC title mix, while Neville will start a feud with Kalisto for the US title. And down in NXT, members of the West End will reveal themselves to be Blake and Murphy, who Becky Lynch steals from Alexa Bliss, NXT Women's Champion Asuka, who Finn reveals to have close ties with from their time in Japan, and longtime ally of Finn, Hideo Itami. Asuka and Itami reveal themselves during the July show at Sumo Hall. SummerSlam weekend comes and the West End dominate. Finn, TMDK, and Becky all retain their titles. Neville and Rusev capture the secondary belts, and at TakeOver Brooklyn, Blake and Murphy defeat American Alpha, Asuka retains in a violent battle with Bayley, and Hideo Itami captures the NXT title from Samoa Joe with the help of Finn Balor himself, who stands over his defeated, longtime rival with the most satisfying grin, having gotten what he feels is the last laugh over the only man able to beat him in the last year. At the end of the weekend, the West End is in control of every single title in WWE. After their clean sweep of all the belts, the story then becomes just how WWE is going to deal with this menace that has taken over the company. This will lead to unstable and unlikely alliances, and the line between face and heel is going to become very blurred. People will realize that they will need to cooperate to take down the West End. AJ Styles may need to try to reform a connection with Gallows and Anderson despite their betrayal. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens may need to put aside their differences to watch each other's backs as they try to obtain gold, and the stranglehold Finn Balor has on the world title may lead to a brief reformation of the Shield. The possibilities are almost endless. Another side effect of the West End's dominance will be that the established factions will be more powerful than ever as they have a built-in defense against a numbers game. Teams like the New Day and the Wyatt family will be able to get a big leg up on their rivals and may even be able to rip some of the gold from the clutches of the lower members of the faction. The West End being both a WWE and NXT faction also means that many NXT wrestlers will have built-in feuds ready when they get promoted. Bayley will want a piece of Becky Lynch, Samoa Joe will want to go straight for Finn Balor the second he gets called up, American Alpha will try and take losing the NXT titles out on TMDK when they make it to the main roster, and Shinsuke Nakamura will be fighting the war against the West End on every front, battling it out with Hideo Itami in NXT, only to move on to fighting Finn and company when he inevitably gets called up. The storylines you can get out of this faction could fill up WWE programming for a year or more. When it's time to bring the angle to a close, you have a very easy out. The group is comprised of many heavy hitters and alpha personalities, and it's only a matter of time before the foundation of the West End shakes apart and collapses under its own weight. How long is someone like Asuka going to want to take orders from Becky Lynch? Is Hideo Itami really going to be satisfied staying in NXT and holding the fort there? Will Rusev and Neville get into a rivalry about who is the best champion at their level? Will one of the lower members step up and challenge Finn for leadership? You can explore all of these scenarios and more. Also, at this point I would like to point out that these 10 people will be the only ones who are ever members of the faction. This way you don't have an NWO type problem where the group gets watered down with lesser members, and when it comes time to end it, you can do so cleanly. Once the West End is no more, you can splinter off the members in any number of different ways. No doubt some will stick together and possibly form smaller factions, some may distance themselves entirely from the group, and others may be pariahs on the main roster, forced to try to survive on their own because they've burnt every bridge they've ever built. If you're going to do a take on the Bullet Club, it needs to be something other than a copy of what's already been done in Japan. The group is cool and entertaining, but you have the chance to do so much more with the bones of what the Bullet Club was and is. WWE has never truly seen a group of people become a global threat to the entire company, and I think now would be the perfect time to try something like that out. You can get dozens of fresh storylines and literally years of gripping programming if you just take the time and think a little bit outside the box. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Booking a Better Wrestler. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to check out all of our other shows that we have throughout the week. On Mondays, we have Time Warp. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have Changing the Questions. Wednesdays, we have Booking a Better Wrestler. And on Fridays, we have Let's Play TEW. Also, be sure to head on over to our website where you can get all of our podcasts as well as articles and recaps we put up throughout the week. You can do that at changingtheqs.com or www.changingtheqs.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at the same handle, at changingtheqs, which is at changingtheqs. If you want to like us on Facebook, just search for Changing the Questions there, and you can do that. And if you want to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do so at changingthequestions@gmail.com. That is going to wrap it up for this episode. Hope you enjoyed my slightly different version of Booking a Better Wrestler. My name is Paul Laporte, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.